Now to our other big story tonight. It has been 20 days since Jolene Cummings went missing. The Hilliard mother of three was last seen on May 12th, Mother's Day, at Tangle's Hair Salon where she worked. Well, the day before Mother's Day, another employee at the same salon, Kim Kessler, is the only suspect in Cummings' disappearance. So we know Kessler had been operating under a fake name, but today we learned that that's not only the identity she's used in years past. In fact, she had a lot. Detectives say she used about 18 aliases, and she had lived in nearly 36 cities in 14 states since 1996. First Coast News reporter Nick Perot joins us now with more on this bizarre story. Nick.
Well, Anthony, Kim Kessler had been using the name Jennifer Seibert, but that's just one of many names. So I talked to a former FBI special agent to take a closer look at what this could mean, what lies behind those names.
There's a reason that they are trying to hide who they actually are. What exactly did they do? Were they involved in other crimes?
Former FBI Assistant Special in Charge for Jacksonville, Tony Kravitz, says the first unknown is why someone would use so many aliases.
So this person has either been involved in other crimes, where they've stolen actual papers of someone else. They have corrupted someone within a system somewhere, or they have been able to talk their way around having to provide the necessary documentation to obtain these different aliases.
In this case, with Kessler using over a dozen names and living in multiple locations, Kravitz says investigators will be looking to see if any of those other names link up to other crimes similar to the disappearance of Jolene Cummings.
You have the ID fraud with that number of aliases means that somebody has been doing this for a while. And the questions that come to mind for me, where have they been? What have they been doing? When were they there? And really trying to link all of these aliases together.
Speaking specifically to this case, the former FBI special agent expects to see a lot more storylines unfold than just the disappearance with someone using so many fake names.
Well, people, including myself, want to know more details. They have to, and they're going to be very tight-lipped on this.
Now, Nassau County and Sheriff Bill Leeper have yet to release the information that they believe why Jolene Cummings is not alive. But Sheriff Bill Leeper did say today in the press conference that once the evidence comes out, the community will be shocked. Reporting in the newsroom, Nick Perot, First Coast News, on your side.